Twisted Travelers Podcast, your weekly dose of theme park news and entertainment. And now, here to talk all things coasters, theme parks, and even more, here are your hosts, Jack Lathrop and Chris Jones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Twisted Travelers Podcast. As always, I am Chris. I am joined by Jack. Jack, how are you, sir?
I am exhausted. Fantasy of Trees 2021 destroyed my body. But other than that, I'm good. How about you?
Oh, you are rightfully tired. I've seen your posts. I'm doing good.
61 hours in 5 days. But we sold $120,000 worth of Christmas trees. Record year. I take that as a win.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a win. But yeah, ready to get into it. Have an announcement after our Patreon shout-outs real quick. Shout out to our patrons, Bryant, Graham, Grant, Jaden, Mark, Allison, and Steven, Eric, Mikhail, and Klaus. Also some quick plugs on Instagram at Twisted_Travelers, on Twitter at Twisted Traveler, but the R at the end is a 1. On Instagram, you can find me at Twisted Travelers Chris, and you can find Jack on pretty much everything at Thrilling Moment.
Okay, only Twitter and Instagram. Don't go looking for me on any other sites.
He has a YouTube.
Although you might want to check out OnlyFans because there apparently is going to be a Velasa OnlyFans.
Cringe.
Hey, Allison started it. So with that being said, though, we do have an announcement to make, y'all. We started this podcast back in April of 2020 during the pandemic. We enjoyed it immensely, but we both have very busy lives, and it's time to move on. So, Chris.
Yeah, it's just gotten to be a bit much, to be completely honest. The kind of magic this had, for me personally, has been lost. I miss the days when I could just text my coaster friends about any sort of news and talk then instead of having a set hour to drop the show, and then everybody can hear my thoughts. I mean, obviously, I could still do that from time to time, but a lot of things I wanted to keep confidential and big, and I kind of miss the way it used to be on a personal level. Things have gotten busy for both of us a lot. We're both in college. And to be honest, and this is something that we said at the start of the show, once one of us stops having fun, this is over. I have stopped having a lot of fun. The guests, the trip reports, I still love those. And during quarantine, when we had nothing going on, it was a lot of fun as well. But the more we have done it, I personally, this is not as much of a Jack decision as it is me. Y'all can hate on me as much as you want in the Discord. I'm done. I know a lot of y'all are going to be surprised, and a lot of y'all are probably literally going to be crushed because of how good friends we have become. And I'm sorry, but I'm always on Discord. I have my Instagrams. I have a personal Instagram other than my normal one. If you want me to follow you, just DM me on Discord, and you can still follow what I'm doing. But this is done.
Yeah. And we were having discussions off air about what's going to happen with Twisted Travelers, what's going to happen, because this was something Chris approached me about, and there's something, like, quite frankly, we make fun of each other and we, like, joke around all the time on the podcast, but Chris is my best friend, and quite frankly, I can't imagine doing this podcast with anyone else. And so for that reason, I am also going to be stepping away. So the Twisted Travelers is going to be finished after season 2 is over. We're going to finish out season 2, but for both of our sakes, because quite frankly, I was getting to the point too where it was becoming monotonous to try to sit down every week and come up with a set time.
Zones.
We're different time zones. We have very different lives with school scheduling and what's happening in our personal lives. And it's just become a lot for both of us to take on. There's going to be a lot of stuff that comes to light about what's happening with me over the next year pretty soon. I'm really excited, but it also is going to eat up so much more of my time that I don't have already. And then, like, it just goes back to it. This was something we talked about when we were younger, and when quarantine was a thing, it made sense. But that's not what's happening anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
we like this is gonna come as a blow to a lot of y'all, and we're sorry. We're just kind of dropping this on you right at the beginning of an episode. But we've got a lot of good stuff planned to finish out season 2,
Right.
finish out our like run as a podcast for now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I am ready to go back to being a normal enthusiast, not a podcasting enthusiast. That is a big thing to me, personally.
and I can promise you, I'm not done creating content, but I am done creating a podcast. So
I am. This is it as far as any sort of content I was a part of. If you want to find me, I'm on Discord, Instagram. That's about it. And Twisted Traveler's Twitter may still be used by me. If you see it ghost liking your tweets, it's probably me. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's about it. And we might randomly drop an episode every once in a while, out of nowhere, just for fun.
Trip reports are fun to record because we get to reminisce about all the fun things we did. But
Yes, those are the best ones. And you guys showed it too, because the amount of listens we got on those is nuts. So thank you for that, for showing that you guys love what we love the most as well.
and thank
yeah.
you all for just supporting us over the last year and a half. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know I speak for myself. I hope I speak for Chris when it means the world to us. Like, to just get to meet so many amazing people through this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, those of you I have met and become close with, we'll still talk. I know that. I have a lot of your numbers. I have a lot of y'all's Instagrams and Discords as well. That ain't going away. It's just listening to my voice for an hour and a half every Wednesday morning is going away. And I'm sure you don't complain about that, but so be it. That's it.
yeah.
Done.
So
Sorry,
with
y'all.
all of that said, yeah, it hurts, but it's also a weight lifted for me. I know, and I know it is for you too.
Yep.
So with that
Peace
being
out after the
said,
season.
you're not finished with us yet because you're stuck with us through January, whatever the date is. I forgot.
You poor people.
Yeah, you're stuck with us
January 4th.
through January 4th, 2022. That is when the series finale is going to drop. So if you've got requests, if you've got anything we haven't done that you want us to do, you better get in the Discord right now and tell us, because we're going to rework the calendar to try to get everything we need to get in for y'all in. But you got through January 4th. So let's hop into some news, though, and pretend like we didn't just announce we're ending the podcast.
So, start off, Triple Loops Indiana Beach is actually making progress. Shout out Gene Staples. 3 loops are up. Good.
They put the loops up in the right spot this time. That's a first.
Difficult task, I understand.
Blueprints go what? Huh?
This thing looks more and more sketch, though. Like, the more I see it, it makes me
A
nervous.
certain Johnniest of Mikes texted me earlier and was like, "Oh my gosh, I can make it my 300th," and I wanted to be like 300th and last.
Probably. It really does scare me. But
yeah, I'm gonna let a bunch
there.
of other people ride it. Probably gonna let some cameras ride it before I get close to it.
Works. Yeah.
It's like we've all seen what's the stick poking the stick meme. I forget the title of it, but that's gonna be me. I'm gonna just be poking it with a stick. Yeah, come on, do something, but don't blow up.
Well, it probably will. Gene will probably fuel that thing on just like raw gasoline and see what happens somehow. Gene, don't kill people. This is tough. But yeah, good question mark maybe. Another thing, Accelerator getting a flame gradient paint job.
That was my camera, not me. I have issues, y'all. This paint scheme is gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot. Hot. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I really do like this paint job. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it'll probably be pretty cool. He's the photography guy. Color schemes are, cool or not cool. I want to see it finish first. But
Yeah, I don't even know if we know what the supports are going to be.
yeah, I don't think we do. So, Klaus, do you know? But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it looks. It's different, but I don't know. We'll find out. It's kind of experimental. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it or not. But good on Accelerator. Another ride that's getting repainted, Kraken. It is getting like basically ice color or icebreaker colored supports. Don't know what they're going to do with the track yet, if anything.
The track looks like it might just be the same color.
Yeah, why does everything have to be blue though? Like Icebreaker's orange
Because
track is going to
it's,
be the only thing other than the kiddie coaster that's not blue.
well, I mean, there's too many blue coasters, but I guess it's because blue color schemes work.
But you got Mako right next
Mako,
to it.
can they please repaint Mako though? Because I've been going through the pictures I took in earlier this month or last month when this drops, and good lord, does that paint in awful shape.
I don't think it's as bad as you think. It's just the sun has faded a lot of it. Like in
No, there's
person, it's
just
not that
giant
terrible.
chunks of paint missing off of it in random spots.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse. It could be Goliath at over Georgia. Even though I like that color scheme, it's faded a lot. But yeah, I don't really like that personally.
Yeah,
Like, why can't you just keep my light blue and beige? Whatever.
beige.
It looked good. It looked good.
Next up on the list, though, is Beast Trackwork Insanity. Now, I've got to preface this by the way these pictures were obtained were, slightly illegal because you're not supposed to fly drones over parks. So keep that in mind. But it's too big to not talk about because they've ripped out, like, the entire drop and a giant chunk of the helix and the first turn out of the drop.
Hopefully, it's gravity group. That would be pretty sick. But like, good. I mean, I never thought the Beast was overly rough, but if this makes it run faster, I'll take that.
Can you imagine if they were able to take the trims off?
Please, that'd be pretty cool. Um, yeah, I already really like Beast. I hope this will make it better. I'm sure. Um, exciting though. I mean, especially the Helix. Good, 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 good. Um, and our last thing, Coaster Dynamics Coaster Cutouts Millennium Force Lift Hill model.
Matt, you are insane.
I'm bringing up pictures.
Have you not seen it?
I have not.
Oh, you're gonna need a bigger shelf.
I knew Tony teased. What the? Matthew.
That was. I'm so
This is
happy.
unnecessary.
I'm
How
so
much
happy
is
you haven't seen it. 250.
310?
Oh, oh yeah, that's right. They priced it the height because they're very original. I'm so
My
happy you hadn't seen it
goodness.
until right now. That makes that's great.
My goodness.
I want one. I really want one. I have
Did
no
they
room
forget?
for one.
Oh no, they didn't. I thought that. I think that's purposeful. I was about to say, did Cedar Point forget to take the wrapping off the base? That would be so funny.
That would actually be hilarious.
It's green. I think it's purposely green because I mean it is over grass.
I think it comes
but
painted, pre-painted too.
it looks like it. That is awesome. I
Yeah.
cannot buy that, but that is awesome.
I really want one.
I do too, but I cannot get no.
Yes, you can.
No,
you
I
definitely
can't.
can. Yes, you can.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna be a bad influence on you, Chris.
I can't do it.
Oh, speaking of print my ride stuff, Velocicoaster cutout. Hi.
Yes. That is
Hi.
something I can get, probably.
Jackie won for Christmas. Wink, wink, hint, hint.
Dang it. Whatever. No.
Please.
No.
Please.
No.
Thanks,
Fine.
Mom. Yeah. Millennium Force Lift Hill model. I know it's not like a big news, but just shout out to him. If you're now we get to say it's like top 5 episodes in my opinion. Go back and listen to that one because that's probably the top 5 episode of all time.
That is a good one.
So go listen to that episode if you want to hear all about how some of that stuff's made.
He showed up with a whole presentation for us, so
it was amazing.
It was great. Shout out Matt. But yeah, So that is all of our news. We've got
Yeah.
ride of the week now. The last ride of the week, the Goliath wheel. We have Over Georgia, Great America, and Fiesta, Texas. So I've got the wheel ready. I will spin. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Great America. Well, it's your week.
Oh yeah, I totally just blanked out. Sorry. Let's see. Great America. Um, so this ride has always intrigued me because it is big but tiny. Like that's how it's like. It's a massive ride, but it's so short. And so we get to Great America this summer, and I'm like, okay, well, it's in the very back of the park. I know that. So we get in there, walk past Max Force because it's broken down, and I think we did X Flight first. And X Flight was great. Like, really blew my expectations out of the water. It's like, okay, this park's good. And then you go back to Goliath. My dad and I get up in the station for Goliath, and we're like, okay, well, let's do back row. Let's go and get in the back row. So we go to the back, and we sit down, we go out of the station, and we hit the lift hill. This is when I started to realize it was getting serious because that is probably the steepest lift hill that is not vertical I've ever felt. Like in terms of like you're sitting on the lift hill going up it. It feels steeper than any other non-vertical lift hill I've ever been on. And it just keeps going and going and going. And you get to the top and the train just starts going over and you just see each car go over in front of you. And then all of a sudden, the thing just yanks you and throws you down this 175-foot drop that just keeps on going and going and going, and it feels like it never ends. It's like probably a top 10 drop for me. And then you hit that first turn, which kind of gives you some weird floater, and then you hit that airtime hill. Oh, just straight ejector out of the airtime hill into the dive loop. That is probably still one of the weirdest feelings on a roller coaster I've ever gotten, just because like the way it like twists and drops you into it, like it's just so weird, especially on an RMC. Like it's not expected. And then the main event, the stall, probably like a top 5 roller coaster element of all time. Might be my favorite element on an RMC. Actually, no, I take that back. It is my favorite element on an RMC. And it's amazing. And you're just hanging there looking down, then you can kind of look up, and then you get whipped out of the stall. You go through the last little turn, you get some weird pops of airtime, pop up into the brakes with some more airtime, and the ride's over. It's phenomenal. And I love it, and it's amazing. And I got off of it. I was like, holy crap, that's top 20. And then I rode it again in the back row, and I got off, and I was like, holy crap, that's top 15. And you will see where it is ranked in our grand finale.
Yes.
And because you will see it because it is up there, and it's a top 5 RMC. I will say that right now, and I don't mind if you all roast me for it, because that ride, while short, does everything better than almost every other roller coaster I've been on. That is
Just
my
short,
review of
yeah.
Goliath.
And I haven't done it yet. I really want to. I don't know. I believe it that every element's that good. It's just how high can it end up getting in the rankings because of how short it is. I'll find out eventually.
That's the shortness is its only limiting factor, and if you can get past it, it's insane.
We'll see. Yeah,
Which is part of why Zadra is so high on my bucket list, because Zadra is Goliath but longer.
Yeah, and bigger, just in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. I don't know if it'll be a top 5 for me, because let me think of my top 5 real quick for RMCs. Well, no. If it got top 5, I could see it getting 5. Like that's it. But we'll see, because those 4 are pretty solidly locked in here until I ride like Zadra and Hakuge and maybe Untamed, and if SeaWorld ever decides to open rides. But yeah, it looks good. Very good.
Yeah.
I cannot add any more, but
I think you'll like it when you get to it.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Maybe not as much as him, but I'm sure I will. Okay. Halftime report On to ESPN we go.
I know I got my butt kicked because Fantasy of Trees took up all of my time and I forgot to look at anything.
I had a very good week.
Good for you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
We'll,
So,
we'll start it off then with mine. I've got it pulled up. I play Chris's dad, and I'm sorry that I can't continue his losing streak. He has got me on the run, 122.2 to 75.5. I just forgot to, change anyone out. I played McCarter
Michael
Carter
Cooper.
Cooper. I'm combining his first and last names. McCaffrey got hurt. Yay. Herbert had a decent week. More okay. Robinson okay, but your dad had Prescott.
Elijah Mitchell did his thing. Jalen Waddle did
Yeah,
his thing, and also he had a
Waddle.
12-point defense.
Yeah,
So,
I got destroyed. Yeah. So
hmm
there's that for you.
And then moving on, let us go to my matchup, which was against Bryant L. So Tom Brady had a bad week, but so be it. Josh Jacobs did his thing. My boy, my favorite player in the league, Lenny Fournette, with a 45-pointer with 4 touchdowns. Shout out my guy. Keenan and OBJ did their things too. Starting OBJ was a risk, but it worked out. Rodgers did his thing for Bryant. Stephon Diggs did his thing. Darren Waller had a bad week. Jacoby Myers was all right, but I kind of destroyed him.
Yeah. By kind of, he means, a spread of what, 40 points?
About like 40, 30, yeah. Sorry, Bryant, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. For Marcus versus Grant. Grant came out with a big win here. It just destroyed him. For Marcus's side, DeAndre Swift didn't do anything. And neither did Dallas Goddard or Jamar Chase. And AJ Brown is on IR, but Derek Carr did his thing. Cooper Kupp did his thing. And then Grant had Carson Wentz had a good week. Zeke Montgomery did his thing. Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson had a solid week. The Dolphins defense put up 25 points, and he had a kicker who put up 20. Grant, that's a lot of luck in those last two, buddy. But good stuff. Worked out well for him. Our next matchup, we have Steven versus Ben, the Battle of the Rockets. And it looks like Steven's got this one pretty solidly because Josh Allen did his thing. His running backs didn't do much, neither did his receivers, but he had Dawson Knox. Good week from him and the Browns defense. While Ben, very bad week from Jalen Hurts. Dalvin,
Just
not quite himself. Gibson
I'm
doing
just
his thing.
looking down his
Thielen, a big week,
lineup.
but
It looks like he forgot to change out who was starting.
yeah,
So
yeah,
great
it's
job,
just tough.
Dad.
Woo! And then a close one that we cannot judge right now is Perry versus Allison. Literally a 1-point game. It's looking like Allison's going to win it, but we can't say for sure. But Jonathan Taylor, obviously. Debo, obviously. Mark Andrews, T. Higgins had good weeks. McLaurin is her player that is playing right now who should give her the win. But we'll see. You never know what could happen. While
Yep.
Perry, I mean, you've got Cordero Patterson. That's solid. Your receivers had down weeks. Kittle had a bad week. Van Jefferson, good week. But other than that, tough sledding.
Yep.
Tough. I got to win. I'm cool. Happy.
I didn't
Ready
get a
for
win.
next week.
I don't care.
Shout out Leonard Fournette.
The man, the myth, the legend. So.
Bryant, enjoy that punishment, buddy.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and take some of your questions real quick because we have those.
Right.
I about was ready to just go straight to an interview. I was like, no, we have questions first.
Yes, 3 questions real quick.
So first two were from Grant. I am sorry, Grant. I'm tired. I'm thinking about things too. Favorite food from holiday season? Ooh. Do you have one?
Not really, to be honest.
I was gonna say, I don't have a favorite. I have a bunch of things I like, but I don't have a favorite.
I just kind of eat whatever's on the table.
I guess I'll just go with what our tradition is. Country ham. Honey glazed country ham. There you go.
Yeah, I'd probably say ham too. Ham's good. But I just kind of eat whatever's there, to be honest.
Go out for
I know you
steak
want a
dinner
more
on
exciting hits, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, go out for steak dinner on Thanksgiving. There's my advice.
no. Second question
That's
for
what I did.
Grant.
It was amazing.
Okay. What's one IP that you'd like to see a park incorporate that's realistic, not already taken, and how would you incorporate it? I
I think
have
we're gonna have
no
the
clue,
same
man.
I have an answer. I think you're gonna like it because it's actually
Okay.
your idea.
Oh,
Gravity
it was?
Falls.
Did I have an idea for something of that? I mean, I
We
love
did a
Gravity
whole
Falls.
episode on this.
We did?
We did.
Well,
It's
it's
called
my
We Need.
idea. Just explain my idea. That's my answer.
Yeah, it's Gravity Falls because that show is amazing. If you haven't watched it, what are you doing with your life? And just think of all of the opportunities, and like there are so many amazing dark ride opportunities from that show. I don't even know where to start listing them out. So literally anything, but just give us a Gravity Falls themed area. That's what I would say.
It'll never happen, but if we could get like a Disney, Phineas and Ferb themed, that'd
Oh
be
my
neat.
lord,
But
it'd
that
be
won't
amazing.
happen. Like literally zero chance. But I'd be cool
No,
with
they
it.
would never want to please our childhood fantasies.
Absolutely not. Um, but yeah, that's what I'll say. I can't think of much, honestly.
We did a
Um,
whole episode on. I saw that question. I was like, I know what our answer should be because we came up with some really good stuff on that episode. It's called "We Need Them IPs." It's from this season. If you want to go
that did
listen to
happen.
it.
Yeah. Last question from Allison. What's the longest you've waited for a coaster only to not get to ride it because of breakdown, weather, etc.? I assume you're talking about your Cobus Curse experience. Um, shoot, I don't even know.
I mean, I
I
know
have
weather.
had decent luck.
I mean, I know your worst weather related experience story, but
It was
I don't. You
American
didn't.
Thunder,
Yeah, you
but it
didn't
wasn't
really
that
wait
long.
that long.
Yeah, because
I
it
know
was the end of the day.
mine was 4.5 hours through weather and maintenance delays for Lightning Rod, and we didn't get to ride it. I mean, I'd ridden it before, but the whole park was shut down for weather, and we didn't want to drive in the rain, so we just waited out in the station for 4.5 hours.
I feel like I haven't waited more than an hour without getting to ride it, so I don't really have an answer for you. Like, not a good answer. It's probably like 20, 30 minutes for something. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. 4.5 hours for Lightning Rod. There you go. That's my answer.
Tough.
So, yep. Okay, with that, we're going to jump into an interview with our good friend Andrew Stillwell from Coaster 101. How's it going?
It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, I think. That's what Mr. Rogers says, right? Yeah,
Shout out,
it's
Mr.
great to be
Rogers.
here. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So, Andrew, you are from Coaster 101, so do you want to talk a little bit about yourself as an enthusiast and also how you got involved with that to start us off?
Yeah, that is a loaded question. I would gladly do
I'm
those
sure
things.
this could go for a while. So.
It could be. I will give you the 30-second Reader's Digest version. Coaster 101 was started in 2005 by a guy named John Stevenson, and John was like 14 years old when this happened. And so he created a website. I know you guys had Coaster Radio on your podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it was in that same year that Coaster Radio started. Coaster 101 got its start. So we're in our 16th, just celebrated our 16th birthday this past June. But what I tell people about Coaster 101 is we cover it all in the industry, news, reviews, interviews, other words that end in IEWS. We pretty much do it all. We try to stay active on Twitter. We're not as active on YouTube as a lot of the other theme park sites out there. But if you're fans of the written word, we've got some really, really good articles. Probably our best well-known article, or some of our most well-known articles, are our Coasters with an S 101 series. And we've got a couple of engineers on staff who kind of have done the ins and outs of theme parks and braking and launch systems and wheels and all this coaster related stuff. As far as me as an enthusiast, I grew up in South Florida, so I was trips to Disney were pretty frequent. And then but I also was that kid who was like really deathly afraid of roller coasters. And I got on like Scorpion and Python at Busch Gardens Tampa when I was like 7 or 8. I was like, I don't like this. But when Islands of Adventure opened, I went with my mom and went with one of her friends, and I rode Hulk, and it was like something clicked inside of me, and I white knuckled my way through that ride, and I got to the brake run, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And so this is, Islands of Adventure opens in '99. This is probably early 2000 when I'm taking this trip, and then that summer I moved to North Carolina, where my closest theme park is Carowinds. There's not a lot of books written about it. This is an era where the internet is existing, but theme park internet is definitely in its infancy, if it even exists at all. I'm sure there's, maybe TPR was around at that point. I don't know. I wasn't reading it. But I became that kid who would just consume everything from the books to the guidebooks to, again, I was like, I think Marcus Leshock said the same thing on your show. Again, I'm into the back catalog here, guys, or the recent catalog anyway. I was reading the coffee table books and the pictures and all that stuff, and just always kind of, I had this dream in the back of my mind that I was going to become a roller coaster designer until I got to high school and realized, hey, I'm not very good at science or math, and you need both those things for an engineering degree. So I just kind of was going to be a fan about it. And in college, I was a creative writing minor, and actually entered Coaster 101's photo contest in 2013. I found it on Twitter. I had followed them for a while, and they were looking for writers. And I had graduated college and was like, I'm looking for something to do to kind of scratch that creative itch. I sent them a sample, and 8.5 years later, 8 years later at this point, I am been writing for them since 2013. So it's been a one hell of a ride. Am I allowed to say hell on this podcast?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. There's you a challenge. Go find every time I've cussed on the podcast, because it happens. A lot of times it's under my breath, but it's happened. And if you know what you're listening for, yeah. So it's the photo contest thing. We'll get to that because it's hilarious that gets brought up. But so Coaster 101 for me, this was when I got into enthusiast. Of course, watched a lot of YouTube, but I've always been someone who enjoys reading about stuff too. And so Coaster 101 was one of the first sites I came across, and it's still like a go-to, like go read Coaster 101's article on insert announcement here or insert ride here or insert topic here. And that's kind of where I go a lot of times to start looking at stuff.
Yeah, we try to kind of, like, obviously there's a lot of press releases out there that can get copied and pasted across the internet. And we try to not necessarily do that, but if there's information, like, we try to throw our own little spin on top of things, like with the example that Gerstlauer announcement, we talked not only about Palindrome, but we talked about Defiance in that article and things like that. So just providing a little bit of background. And the way I've described it, and, Chris, you were talking before we started recording, like, we're coaster nerds who write stuff that the GP can understand and kind of flocks to. And it's not necessarily like the video of the tilt coaster that your crazy aunt sends you on Facebook and is like, hey, would you ride this? But it's kind of like that, where we try to make theme parks and the roller coasters and the greater industry kind of accessible to everybody, because obviously you're going to find the coaster fans. We are out there. There are dozens of us. And, we try to kind of bridge that gap between the GP and the enthusiast crowd. And I don't like GP as a negative term. I know that's kind of like a taboo topic, but that's the best way to put it to me. It's like, obviously we know these things. We know, Fred Grubb is the president of RMC, the founder of RMC. He's retired, but he and Alan Schilke have built these crazy things. We know this. Joe Q public doesn't know these things. So we try to kind of put that out there for everybody so everybody can understand it and enjoy it and learn maybe a little bit in the process.
Yeah, you're doing it the right way. You're not trying to clickbait. You're just trying to have it informative and seem like something fun for everyone. That's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of websites. I'm not gonna I think you guys don't, your goal is to not make enemies, so I'm not gonna name names. But there's a website that they claim to go inside the magic. Oh, weird. They like just discovered what Google Earth was, and were writing articles about, you won't believe what's on Google Earth. And it's like, yeah, it's okay. It's there. You guys good? You all right?
I'm not laughing or anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, sorry. Inside the
yeah,
magic, if you're listening, don't come after me.
Yeah. I have no idea. I don't
Just figure it out, Jack. Just do something.
I have no concerns
I don't know
at this
where to
point
go,
about
man.
anything, Chris. So, Andrew, what do you do with Coaster 101 specifically, besides roast other pages?
I don't roast other pages, but if we want to get off on a tangent of roasting pages, I know the drunk riders listen to your show, and you know,
we were gonna bring them up. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I love those guys. They're wonderful people.
Patreon exclusive
You
episode, roast fest of the drunk riders. Right now, we're just
Anyway, all right, cool. Bring me back for that. We'll do it. No, it's a weird, we've got 8 people on the Coaster 101 team, and we're located across the country. We've got a guy, John, who founded the site. He lives in Nashville. We've got 2 guys up in Ohio. We've got a guy in Florida, a guy in Northern California, a guy in Michigan, and a guy up in New England, Shane. I think they counted 8 there successfully. And then I'm in North Carolina. So we kind of cover things on a regional level. Obviously, Eric out in California, he covers a lot of the goings on at the, your California's Great America or your Discovery Kingdom, but he gets down to the Southern California parks as well. I'm kind of like an amoeba. I just kind of cover what's needed when it's needed. And if there's news, a lot of times I'm the one to write about it. I'm on the Twitter a lot. I host our podcast, the Coaster 101 podcast. Not going to plug it too much, but the Coaster 101 podcast, available anywhere you get podcasts. So be sure to check that out.
Remember to cut that, Jack.
No, don't cut that, Jack. Don't cut that, Jack.
No, remember to cut that, Jack.
If you listen to last week's show, every time Taylor said cut this, I deliberately left it in, so I can't make any promises.
Okay, that's fair. But yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I think that's the best way. I wear a lot of hats when Coaster 101 is concerned, and sometimes they're construction, hard hats, going to media events and construction tours and things like that. Obviously, I do a lot of stuff with Carowinds because they're the park in my 30-minute long backyard, and I've formed over the years a good working relationship with them, and can talk to them about, their Winterfest parade or their haunt mazes or things like that. And they're always like, yeah, sure, bring it on.
Got you. So you did mention the podcast, and we have a couple of just specific questions about that. So
For sure.
Personally, what is your favorite episode that you have recorded from that?
Ooh, so our podcast,
This is
it
definitely
started.
not me stealing guest ideas or anything.
No, that's fine. I completely get that. We started our podcast as a pandemic project. I think you mentioned you were in the same boat. It's like, we're not breaking bread. We're not doing all the things people in pandemics are doing. We're tired of Zoom meetings. So let's get on a different platform and record a podcast. And, our show, we're still trying to figure out an identity. We've done some really cool interviews. Some of my favorites, I don't have one favorite. But we did a 2-part episode with Dave Cobb, who was the creative director of Men in Black Alien Attack. That was a really fun one for us. We've had Carly Wiesel on the podcast. Carly is a delight. And we talked about Disney roller coasters with her. And then, this past week even, we had an interview with Nick Walker, who is on Broadway, and he's in the Temptations musical, Ain't Too Proud. But he was at the New York Comic-Con at this Broadway panel, and the panel idea was the nerds of Broadway and kind of what they're nerdy about. And he's just this bona fide theme park nerd that you wouldn't even know. I mean, he played Aaron Burr on the Hamilton tour. And now he is in this Temptations musical, literally on Broadway. And he told us that 30 minutes before show, what he does before every show is he watches some sort of theme park content, be it a POV or a Disney video or something. That's how he spends his last 30 minutes before the show. And he was awesome. So those are some of my favorites. We had Scott and Taylor and Sarah from This Is How We Roll on a couple of weeks ago. That's been a very popular episode. But yeah, those are some of the favorite interviews we've done. If you're stealing the guest, I mean that's a big drunk writers move. They love to steal our guests. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. Again, Marcus, team, Marcus, Mark,
kidding.
I love you all.
Marcus, hate you. But yeah. So
Beautiful.
any
bald.
guess? Do you want to finish that, buddy?
Beautiful bald man.
Okay. So are there any guests that you want to have on but haven't yet? Like that
Yeah,
you can personally just call out right now?
Yeah, I want the Twisted Travelers podcast. I think come January, when there's not a whole lot of stuff going on in parks, my goal is to do some crossover episodes. I want to get you guys involved. I want to get the guys from In the Loop, Drunk Riders, Corkscrew Convos. I don't know if you guys know them or not. They're a couple of good guys. Coaster Radio. So I'm going to steal guests from you.
Okay, works.
Outside of podcasts, I think I would love if I could get somebody from a Disney or Universal who's in a creative capacity on our show. And, we had Dave Cobb, but he's not with Universal anymore. But, it's the same. Everybody wants the big guest because, when you get a big guest, the audience follows the big guest. That's why Taylor Bybee is, one of our most popular episodes, because everybody loves Taylor Bybee. But, I think you guys, I'm always looking for stories to tell. And I think if I could find that right guest, and we've done shows that it's like, I talked to Justin Mabry, who does the theme song for our podcast, but he also produces shows like Mix It Up at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and Monster Stomp, and the Sticky Paint that was a brass ring nominee at IAPA, and Busker Jam at Kings Island and Carowinds. And he's done shows like that, and just learning more about what goes into theme park entertainment and the audition process and things like that. I love kind of that peek behind the curtain. You know what I mean? Where again, it's the taking the people who the GP doesn't necessarily know, and the enthusiasts may or may not know, and just kind of talking a little bit more about it. I mean, another guest we had on fairly recently was Ryan Allen, who's Carowinds director of live entertainment, and he gave me like a blow by blow of everything that went into Scarowinds mazes and this new show, Queen's Ball, which is amazing. And he was just like, we were just just talking for an hour about all these things, and you could tell how passionate he is and how all of our guests are about their work. And it's just, when you can convey that passion to an audience, I don't care who the guest is, if they can convey their passion, it makes for an entertaining episode. And again, it's all about those stories that people tell and have to tell.
Yeah, I got you. So moving more to your writing side with Coaster 101, what is your favorite thing that you've actually gotten to write with Coaster 101, if you have one?
That is
I know it's a big catalog, but
that is a huge catalog, and I've written like 700 things over the past 8 years for Coaster 101. Can I get some, can I get like a couple of favorites here? Just
of course.
Okay, perfect. I really enjoyed talking to the Weber group about their theming at Copperhead Strike. That was a very fun one to write. And they talked about how they sourced all the materials for that, how they had the concept. That was a really fun conversation. Talking to Josh Greenberg at SeaWorld about how they revamped their social media presence. And I don't know if you guys know, but SeaWorld's been killing it on Twitter for the last 6 months. It's amazing to see. Mm-hmm. Josh was a really good interview that comes to mind. Anytime I get to go on a construction tour like Pantheon before didn't open in 2020, but was mostly finished. That was a really cool experience, getting to kind of chronicle Fury 325, the construction process between that. I was there the day they topped off the lift hill. I was there the day they completed the track. I was there on media day, and it was kind of like the first thing I had covered really from beginning to end for Coaster 101. Like I was there the day they announced it. It was all there. So getting to chronicle that was really fun. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really sticks out to me right now. There was a Twitter list that I put out on back in like February that set the internet on fire. That was like 101 theme park Twitter lists you should be following. And a lot of people got really mad about that. So I don't know if that was.
I do remember that.
Yeah, that was a fun time to be me on the internet for like a week in February, and then parks opened and nobody cared anymore. So thank God.
I like that list.
Were you on it? Yeah, I think you were on it.
I was on it.
Okay.
Why did you put him on it?
He takes really good pictures. Okay.
He does?
I do have that one thing going for me.
And then I had it on the tip of my tongue just now, and I can't.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. I was on a roll, and I was just rambling. Yeah, I think those again, coaster101.com/author/Andrew. You can read all 700 of them if you want to. Oh,
I know
here's
what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah, you need a hobby then. The article that I'm really like that blew up for me was just when Volcano closed at King's Dominion. I like saw something on Twitter, and I was just sitting there. I was like, because they kind of dumped it in a blog post just buried it in a blog post. It's like, here's this, and this, and oh yeah, Volcano's closing. Okay, bye. And I think we were one of the first sites to kind of pick up on that, and our traffic from the Volcano closing announcement, it kind of like sent Coaster 101 to this next level, I feel like. So that was a big one for me that I was particularly proud of, even though I didn't enjoy it closing, and it was very much just a boilerplate. Hey, this is closing. The park announced it in a blog. Here's some facts about it. But it lit the internet on fire.
Well, yeah, because that was a huge shock. I remember everybody freaking out when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm jumping between tabs. It definitely wasn't on coaster101.com looking at stuff. So we'll jump back to this because photographer here. The photo contest. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I heard that right. You said you got involved with Coaster 101. You found out through the photo contest.
Yes, this is back in 2013 when you were like a child.
Yes.
And I think one of the categories that year was like best mobile photo, and the entries in the photo contest, I will say, in the past couple of years have just gotten so much better that there's no way I would have won now with that photo. But I took it on like my iPhone 3, 4 TI-84 calculator, whatever I took it on. It was a picture of Loch Ness Monster's loops, and for whatever reason I won. And yeah, that was back in the day. The prize pack was, I got like a Six Flags towel and a tumbler and some postcards, and we tried to make the prize packs better over the last couple of years. And Jack, I know you're begging me to ask you, as a multiple winner of the Coaster 101 photo contest, I hope you would agree that the prize packs have gotten pretty good.
They have gotten pretty good.
Yes, they have.
Brought a couple home of them. Actually, you're talking to two winners of it because Chris was won one too.
Well,
I shoot on an iPhone. This guy's got like a $10,000 camera, and I can win the same competitions he can. Imagine.
It's all about what you do and how you use it. Chris, when did you win?
It was 3 or 4 years ago. You had the edited category, and I was the Big Thunder Mountain.
Okay, yeah.
Picture. Yeah, not the voted one, the one picked from you guys from Coaster 101. Yes, that one was mine.
I'm nodding like I remember the exact picture.
Yeah, no, you're good.
It was, I'm sure it was lovely, and congratulations, 3 years after the fact. Okay,
Thank you.
I'll go look it up after this record for sure.
I'm gonna go look and figure out what year it is because I also have to. I gotta
It was
remind
19 or
myself which
18.
ones. It would have been.
Jack, do you hang the banners like you're a NBA team? Like
I do
Coaster
not.
10
I do not.
Okay.
Fuels his ego.
I'm not that big of a nerd.
It's funny, Chris. When I ran into Jack at Carowinds,
Yeah.
would have been Halloween, end of September this year, and I think he and his dad were getting ready to go back on the road home, and I guess like Jack's mom or his dad's wife, they're the same woman. She was like texting him. Yeah, he was like texting Jack's dad, when they were going to be home, and Jack's dad was like, "Oh, Jack ran into a fan," and I was like, "Well, we all love Jack." But I mean, this is definitely something. I mean, we had planned this earlier in the day. Like I had said, "Hey, I'm going to be at Carowinds," and he was like, "Oh, I'm here. Let's get a ride. We'll do this." But yeah, it was. You talk about feeding the ego. I love to feed Jack's ego. It's great.
No.
Also,
don't
you're
feed
the
my ego.
problem.
It does not need to be fed anymore.
Well, then stop entering our photo contest because all your photos are really good.
Yeah, that might.
They
be
are really
something
good.
I have to. Okay, yeah, okay. So I entered. My first year I entered was 2017. It was a picture of Wildcat at Hershey Park. It is by all means a very bad picture, in my opinion. Now it won the Reader's Choice that year. 2018 was the year Chris entered, and that was. I didn't win anything that year. Actually, Chris beat me out in one category, but his picture was better.
Chris, congratulations! All hail Chris! All hail Chris!
Thank you, Andrew.
See, I'm an equal opportunity ego feeder here.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
I don't think y'all did one in 2020 or 2019.
I think we did, but maybe we didn't. I don't know.
Maybe we did. I don't see
keep
it
track of
showing
these.
up in the. I don't see it showing up. Anyway, no. This year was my my clean sweep with a picture of Loch Ness Monster, Lightning Rod, and the Dollywood Express. I kind of just walked in and was like, "Here are 3 pictures," and they all 3 won part of their category.
Yep. I do want to say, I think it was 2020 you had the picture of Mystic Timbers?
Oh yeah, the picture that shall never be topped.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite pictures. So I have to go on record.
Still, I took that picture in 2019. It's been over 2 years since I've taken that picture, and it is still my favorite picture I've ever taken.
It's a good one.
It is the most sought after print. Like that is the number one picture people ask where they can get prints of. It is actually, I don't own a print of it myself somehow. I have a spot for one right here. I just don't have one anymore. I gave all of mine away. So darkroom.com.
I was going to say,
moments.
There are websites out there that allow you to print photos. So you could fill that space again if you wanted to.
Oh, I know I could. It's just I'm broke. So.
Okay. Well, Patreon.com/Twisted Travelers.
Shout out. You know what? You're on next week too, bud. We're all good. You're welcome back anytime now. But
no, it's the photo contest though. It's always been one of my favorite things because I love getting to see everyone else's work too. Because there's some of these people that don't actually have Twitters or Instagrams, and they drop a picture. And I'm like, wait, why haven't I ever seen this? Because this is really good.
Yeah, it's like, who are you, and where exactly do you come from? Mm-hmm. So there's definitely some amazing ones. There's some that like I will fight for because they're that good, and the rest of the team doesn't necessarily agree with me. But again, we have 8 people voting in this thing, and we've got a point system, and it's way too serious and scientific for what it actually is. But like I said, the entries have gotten significantly better over the years, and then Jack just wins all the categories. So if you're listening, next year when we do this contest, enter so Jack has some better competition.
Can y'all just retire him, like ban him?
I'm like, honestly at this point, I'm like, maybe I'll retire.
It was you and who's the guy? Bob's Coaster Blog.
Bob.
It was always you two for a while, and now it's starting to pick up a little bit.
We came in. We had our like moments of dominance. We'd fight back and forth with each other. Bob, I love you. And yeah, no, but hey, here's my challenge, my personal like call out to everyone. Beat me. I challenge you. Go do it. I'm sitting on the gold mine of stuff. So
Kill
good
his
luck,
ego.
but
Do it. Just
The
kill it.
2022
Tear him
photo
down.
contest will happen sometime next year. Coaster101.com. Be sure to tune in.
I already know what one of the entries is going to be, and y'all have got some serious work to beat that Goliath sunset picture.
Oh, that one. Dang it.
Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
Can you just send him the pack now? I'm not even gonna lie.
I mean, I just pull stuff. I've got like a Rubbermaid tote of theme park stuff. I can just go start pulling stuff out for you if you want that.
I mean, he'll probably win with that one. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I think for the most part, that is all we wanted to cover, except for our last two questions we ask every guest: favorite park and favorite coaster.
See, when I was
How
listening,
original.
catching up on, yes, when I was catching up on your shows today, I saw you asked every guest this question. And favorite coaster is an easy one for me. If you've ever listened to coaster101.com, if you've ever listened to our podcast, been on our website, listen to me talk about roller coasters, it's Fury 325. I don't care. It's in my backyard. It's sentimental to me because I got to see it from announcement to construction to opening to experiencing it in the front row in the rain during Scarowinds when it was foggy, and it was like the most intense roller coaster experience of my life. So Fury is, I mean, that's going to be the answer. I feel like almost it's cliche at this point to say, but it is what it is. I'm not going to beat it. I haven't been on a lot of the other coasters that are a lot of people's favorites. Still too large to ride Steel Vengeance. I haven't been down to Orlando to ride Velocicoaster yet. So those are, I know some new hotness favorites a little bit. Favorite park is it's a more difficult question for me. I think it comes down to a lot of things. Obviously, you want a park with a really good roller coaster collection, but when I go to a park, I want so much more than just good coasters. And I know we all love a good coaster, and we have our coaster counts. We're nerds and enthusiasts and things like that. But to me, a park is so much more than just coasters. Like, it's got to have good food. It's got to have good live entertainment. If it's got an interactive dark ride that's a really good Sally ride, or even something that Sally didn't create, I love that. I need a Sally dark ride. I need that. But the park I'm probably going to have to go with this question that checks most of, if not all, the boxes. It doesn't check the dark ride box, unfortunately, but is Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I think the food there is fantastic. They've got a really solid coaster lineup. I think Invader is one of the most criminally underrated wooden roller coasters out there, believe it or not. And then live entertainment. Have you guys ever seen Celtic Fire? This show is just top notch. So I highly recommend, for those listening, if you haven't been to Busch Gardens, or if you have been and haven't seen Celtic Fire, go see it. It's well worth your time. Some parks that are honorable mentions for me in this category: I love Kennywood. I love the Charm. Jackrabbit and that Double Down will always hold a special spot in my heart. Knott's Berry Farm, another really good one that I enjoy. Got to give a shout out to Carowinds. Again, they check all of those boxes: the coasters, the other rides. They've got a couple of interactive dark rides with Plants vs. Zombies and Boo Blasters, so that's fantastic. And their live entertainment's top notch. So I don't have a favorite park. I don't hate it when people ask me that question, but it's just like I have to go into this long rambling response like I'm giving you guys right now, and people are just like, dude, you could have just said Disney World and shut up. So But
No, that's definitely the tougher of the two questions. Like, you're good.
it
I get it.
100% is. And I mean, there are other coasters out there that I like. I mean, if I got to divide it up between wood and steel, again, I love Jackrabbit at Kennywood. I love White Lightning at Fun Spot, another coaster I think that is criminally underrated. And Ravine Flyer 2 is a coaster
Right.
I don't feel like gets talked about enough, even though it's pretty sure is still in the top 10 in the golden tickets. So I think those, I mean, they're all, it's at the end of the
People just
day.
don't go to Waldemere.
Yeah, but Ravine Flyer 2.
I know, it's really good. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Just nobody
I gotta
goes
get
there.
over there this year or next
You
year.
haven't been?
I haven't been. I'm running out of parks in the United States that I need to get to, but it is one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I end up in that blind spot of, I've got some really like embarrassing blind spots, I feel like. Hershey Park being one, Six Flags Magic
wow.
Mountain, Silver Dollar City, Six Flags Fiesta Texas. All these parks I have not been to, and I really need to get down there or up there or over there, depending on how I'm directionally oriented.
Yeah.
My big,
all of those.
like, I still need to get to this park in the States. I still haven't done Walt Disney World. I'm holding out on Tron. But other than that, it's like Lagoon in New England. Those are that's what's left.
New England, Great America, and then like Discovery Kingdom and CGA. And that's all the major ones I'm really missing.
So you're missing both Great Americas then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got up to the one in Chicago a couple of years ago. It was a really, really good time, and I'm somewhat of a Six Flags skeptic, and I actually really enjoyed myself. So
I was a Six Flags skeptic until this year. Like, this year they've been great.
So good.
And I'll be like, this might shock some people. I'll take Six Flags Great America over California's Great America.
I mean, it's like 15 coasters versus 8.
Yeah.
But no, like, they have the same coaster lineups. Atmosphere, I'll take Great America.
You're coming with like what you think is a hot take that's like something like 95% of people agree with.
Probably.
I mean, yeah, but Gold Striker exists instead of Max Force, so
it's true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
And then you've also got Raging Bull and Goliath, but whatever. But yeah, good talk.
Absolutely.
Well, are we good? I think that's it.
I think we're good right there. So Andrew, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have to, come January when you do your epic like crossover episodes.
That's the plan. I will definitely keep you guys in the loop. Dumb pun. Sorry.
That's all right. So you want to plug your stuff and then head on out?
Absolutely. We are at Coaster 101. Pretty much anywhere you can consume social media, including TikTok, even though we haven't really figured that one out yet. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You get a little something different every place, so be sure to check us out everywhere. Also, coaster101.com if you prefer your articles to be written and read, or we also have the Coaster 101 podcast. Some really good stuff in the back catalog there. Be sure to check that out. If you've enjoyed talking to me or listening to me talk, I don't know why. I am on Twitter at Stillwell, STILWELL, and Instagram at Andrew Stillwell. Spelled the same way. One L in the middle, two at the end.
Gotcha. And then for us on Twitter at Twisted Traveler, but the R at the end is a 1. On Instagram at Twisted_Travelers. You can find me at Twisted Travelers Chris, and you can find Jack at Thrilling Moment on Twitter and Instagram. As always, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
Buy Allison's book and all of that fun jazz. And
Discord
calendars.
picture.
Buy my calendars because I need to sell out of those because that's how I pay for stuff. So
Hey, on the subject of calendars, let me get one more plug in.
Oh, no.
Sorry. After you buy Jack's calendar, you should also buy the Coaster 101 calendar. We donate 100% of the net proceeds to Give Kids the World, which is a charity that we love. And, I mean, Jack's calendar has really good photos, but our money goes to charity, so buy both. You have more than one room in your house. Get both calendars.
I consider myself a charity, just FYI, for the people.
We were just talking about ego. Anyways, Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Twisted Travelers Podcast.